Nakatani defended the WBC bantamweight title, really starting to cement himself in the bottom half of that top 10 pound for pound list. Initial thoughts, and then let's get to the main topic at hand with Nakatani. Can he beat Inoue? But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, he fought Salapat. Salapat's not really anything crazy to write home about.
72-1. Fuck.
No, but like if you really check under the
I know. But yeah, still, looks good.
In Thailand, nobody knows about with like 5 and.
Wasn't there a dude who was 50-0 from Thailand? It's not the same guy, is it?
Yeah, Wang Hang.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, yeah. But no, it was pretty much what I thought it would be. It would be Junto getting off on an inferior fighter that hadn't fought at that level before. So I mean, there's not really too much for me to dissect. He did the normal Junto thing where he gets off his shots at mid range and just slowly but surely breaks these guys down.
The first time I heard the term brick hand was from Gervonta Davis's camp, covering him here in Vegas as he was getting ready for Santa Cruz. I hear the brick hand, and finding out it's your backhand. If you're a southpaw, it's your left hand. If you're a righty, it's your right hand. And Nakatani, a southpaw like Davis, has a motherfucking brick in his brick hand. His left hand, arguably a top 5 punch in boxing.
Damn, I'd have to really think about that one, but that's a pretty big claim.
I'm just saying it off top. Like, I haven't made a list, but
when you think of the Junto left hand, you think of instantly the Maloney knockout, and all these other fights where he's getting knocked out.
That was the knockout of the year.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, and Junto, the thing about Junto too is he's not like a lot of these other Japanese fighters. I love the Japanese fighters, but the style from Japan is very like all the fighters kind of fight similar. He's different in the sense that he can fight from different ranges. He's not so over reliant upon the mid range or just punches down the middle. He could fight on the inside a little bit here and there. He has a bit of that Mexican American influence from Rudy Hernandez because he spent most of his time as a youth, a lot of his time as a youth, training with Rudy Hernandez. So he's going to have some of that influence in him. So I really do think he's one of the most dynamic talents in boxing, and I can't wait to see how it continues to go for him.
That's got to be paying dividends working out in California. California, arguably the best, and Vegas and a few other places, but you could argue Cali as having the best sparring in the sport in the United States. There's just a lot of talent out there in those gyms, and
a lot of talent, a lot of different types of looks, and you're always gonna get guys coming from all over the world, just like Vegas. Guys come from all over the world just to train at these places.
Yeah, and he's got a great left hand, great performance against this guy. I would still favor the monster. I'd still favor Inoue because now at the same time, Luis Neri taking advantage of Inoue leaving his chin up, and Inoue to me is number 2 pound for pound, and the most Ennis is so much more unproven, but along with Ennis, maybe the most athletic fighter in boxing today, Inoue. And I might have him over Ennis too, because Ennis doesn't have the explosiveness with his feet that Inoue does.
And that explosive first step to cover all that ground so quickly.
To the feet, yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm still, but Luis Neri with his left hand was able to drop Inoue, taking advantage of one of his flaws, leaving his chin up when he punches sometimes, and maybe Nakatani could do the same and do more that he did. But go ahead.
Yeah. You see, me, a lot of people are writing off Junto in that fight. I love Junto. I think Junto have a great shot to beat Inoue because it's not so much just that break hand or that left hand down the middle. It's also the fact that he's a volume puncher. And I think one of the attributes, if you're going to beat a guy like Inoue, one of the attributes a fighter has to have is the ability to be a volume puncher, which he has, and he's taller, so he actually has the unique blend to mix things up. He could, keep on the outside because he's gotten better fighting tall, and then he could pick his spots when to be the volume puncher. And I think those things are going to have to force Naoya Inoue to make adjustments he's never had to make in his career, and that's where we're going to really find out. We know Inoue is great. We know he's this destructive wrecking ball of a fighter in these low weight classes, but that's going to really show what level his boxing IQ is on. When he has to fight a fighter that really makes him have to adjust.
Yeah, I think from a boxing fan standpoint, you got to see him Inoue before you go to 26.
Yeah.
And his argument would be why. The goal is accomplished at 22. I became undisputed.
Well, I'll give you one reason why, and I'm going to really sound off on this right here. Like, before they fought, he was getting asked a bunch of questions from Japanese media about, when he's going to fight Junto. And to that, he said, well, look, I'd love to fight him. He's at 118. He wants me to fight. He should fight my brother. He should fight Takuma, right? And Takuma...
Not even on my level. Let my little homies ride on you, bitch, mate. Yeah. He was like Tupac sicking the Outlaws on Biggie.
And Takuma had a very tough fight on his hands with Seiya Sutsumi. And anybody who watched Sutsumi knows how tough that fight was going to be for Takuma. And Takuma got beat the hell up. So I feel like, look, you got to fight him just off the strength of that. You got to fight him just off the strength of him, beating up on the guy that, beating up on a guy that fought your brother. Or no. Like, I just think Junto and Inoue, it's a fight that needs to happen for Japan. It's a fight that needs to happen for the lower weight classes. And, people have been adamant with me. Sean, I'm really close to Angelo Lee at featherweight. People have been adamant with me. Inoue just runs through everyone at featherweight. So since he just runs through everyone at featherweight, then have him fight Junto. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a master of Japanese boxing history. I know, man, now fighting Harada was kind of the GOAT of Japan up until Inoue kind of established himself as a new GOAT from Japan.
Fighting Harada and Yoko Goishin.
Right.
His name, guy with the afro who had like a bunch of defenses. I think it was like 108 or 112.
Brendan spent time in Japan, so he's a little more well-versed than me on it.
Yeah. So those are the two guys that you always hear about. Fighting Harada, and I'm probably even saying his name wrong. Yoko Goishin, the guy from like 108 that had like a truckload of defenses. He's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Like, he has a plaque and everything in the Hall of Fame. So other than those guys, I mean, 4-division champion, one of the highest knockout ratios in boxing. He's up there.
A reason why I'd favor Inoue still, I think he's a little bit better. I just all around, I think he's got the explosiveness in the first step to get in range, in mid-range to close range, and not in Inoue, punch for punch is the best body puncher in boxing. And I think that's a tall, slender target for Inoue to get.
Torso.
Very tall target for him. But it's a great fight, and I really would love to see this fight. I'd want to go to Japan to cover this fight. Like that's how great of a fight it is, and I've never left the United States. So I'd also want to go to the arcades in Japan and play Street Fighter Third Strike, on a candy cab.
That stuff,
Right. I'm not saying that doesn't play a role in me wanting to go there. It does. But yeah, I think, again, Neri dropping Inoue with a left hand makes me go, huh. And then just how good Nakatani is. But Nakatani's not the greatest defensively. He's one of those tall guys whose offense kind of is his defense a lot of times.
Yeah,
and
Inoue's not the greatest defensive fighter either. His head's
No,
right
he's
down
not.
that line all the time. So it's like that's where the intrigue is, To beat a guy like Junto or vice versa with Inoue, you got to be able to take what they can dish out, And so it would. I think that fight would come down to it'd be a battle of wills. Like they're both gonna get hit with big shots. Who's gonna fold first? That's what it comes down to.
Here in America, and deservedly so, a lot of these guys will get. Oh shit! What's this? This is food. Oh man, I got tacos for my wife, bro. Who's got it better than me? Look at this. This is from scratch. This ain't no taqueria. This is from wifey.
From a real Mexican woman.
A real Mexican woman. That's right. Your boy did good. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, we get a lot of the fans, and we're one of them too. I mean, we're journalists first and foremost, but of course we love boxing just like you guys do. And a lot of our fighters here in the West, they get a lot of shit, some deservedly. Canelo doesn't want to fight Benavidez. Crawford didn't want to fight Boots Ennis, right? And Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson are taking forever to fight each other. But Inoue is pulling the same bullshit. He's like, fight my little brother. What do you bring to the table? And it's like, Think about it, fans. This is Inoue's Benavidez, Canelo, his Boots Bud, his Shakur Tank.
Sean, what the crazy thing is though, so I have a pretty big Japanese audience on my channel because I cover a lot of Japanese fighters.
Indeed, you do.
What they're saying, what they've been telling me is that when I got all pissy and mad about it, they said, "Oh no, well it was lost. It was lost in translation. Inoue wasn't being disrespectful.
It's always lost in translation.
It's always every time I say something that's not favorable to Inoue, it's lost in translation, right? Mm-hmm. But he did say he said even if he didn't say even if he wasn't like yo fight my brother first, even if he just suggested it, you're putting a stipulation on a fighter. Even if it's kind, even if there's nothing bad about what you said, it is still a stipulation. I never heard Inoue say about anybody's fought in his career. I never heard him say, "Hey, you gotta beat my brother before you fight me," or "You gotta beat this guy before you fight me." No, it's just been if you had a belt, if you were worthy enough to get in there with me, you got the fight. But with Junto, it hasn't been that same energy. So I'm gonna wait for things to play out. But I didn't like that, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it especially because I felt it was very disrespectful to Seiya Tsutsumi, who is a very good bantamweight fighter. He's Sean, you may not remember, but he's the guy.
Maybe he knew his brother was gonna lose, and that's why he threw it out there. He's like, my brother's not gonna win this fight anyway. So.
Remember, Seiya Tsutsumi fought on the co-main event of I think it was Inoue. Was it Inoue Fulton or Inoue Tapales? I think it was Inoue Tapales. He was the co-main event, and that's that infamous fight with the Japanese fighter that passed away, Kazuki Anaguchi. He's the guy that he was getting outboxed, lost every round that he didn't get a knockout in, but he got 3 knockdowns and broke this guy's will to the point where he literally died. Not to glorify it, but that's the kind of seriousness you should take with fighting a guy like that. And I don't feel like they fully took him serious, and that's why his brother got beat the hell up when they fought.
This is where your superior knowledge to mine comes into play. Nakatani, he's Mr. Honda too, right?
Technically, everyone in Japan is because Mr. Honda, you have to even if you have a different promoter in Japan, you still have to go through Mr. Honda. Everything has to go through him. But he's not. No, he Inoue's Hideki Ohashi, and I think Junto's Tekken Promotions.
Okay, well, they tend to not I hear sometimes they tend to not want to match up 2 Japanese stars. They don't love doing that.
Yeah.
And I heard that maybe as a reason why they never made Inoue and Ioka back at 115.
Inoue and Ioka, I think, was probably more due to the fact that Ioka has a history of being tough to negotiate with.
Okay.
Because Ioka was supposed to fight Gaio Estrada last New Year's Eve, and
right.
That fight fell through because Ioka and him just couldn't come to terms because Ioka is a hard guy to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. But, look, one way or the other, we never got him against Chocolatito Gonzalez. Never got him in Ioka, who was on the pound-for-pound list for a minute there.
Wrong Versailles,
right? Okay. And Quadras and Estrada while you're at it. But really, Chocolatito never happened. Ioka never happened. And Inoue, first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest bantamweight that ever lived. But even though he's been undisputed at 118 and 122 back-to-back, an incredible feat, if he doesn't fight Nakatani, it's like, it's just, I want to see it.
The way I look at it, right? The way I look at it is, Inoue is such a dominant fighter that, he makes these good fighters look like nobodies. Guys that are legit champions look like nobodies many times. The one division he's fought in his whole career that had real smoke, guys where you'd be like, damn, I don't know if he won that one, was 115. And for whatever the case may be, some people say it was the opponent, some people say it was Inoue. Whatever the case may be, the reality is he never fought those guys, right? And he's fought in 2 weight classes where, it hasn't been the stiffest competition. Let's just be honest. Nakatani to me represents, along with him fighting big guys at featherweight, it represents now his chance to kind of I don't want to say redeem himself, but maybe fight some better competition. Because that's the knock on him. He's beating good fighters, he's beating champions, he's beating these guys that you have to respect, but maybe the competition hasn't been as stiff as other guys. So, what?
Here's the thing: he's so great, right? That outside of the Fulton fight, which he was favored to win too, but outside of the Fulton fight, and I know he knocked out Donaire, but Donaire was older. Outside of the Fulton fight, there hasn't been a fight heading in where it's like, I think Inoue could lose this fight. And that's another reason I want to see Nakatani before he goes to featherweights. He would be the favorite against Nakatani, but there'd be a lot of people picking Nakatani to beat him. So I want to see that. I want to see that before he moves up.
Yeah. Same here. If he's gonna stay at 122, because there's been all this talk about what he'll do in the coming months. I don't really care for like Merjan Akhmadaliev. You know, Merjan kind of pissed his Inoue fight away through his actions and decisions.
Yeah, we have people in the chat wanting to ask us about that, about him fighting, Merjan Akhmadaliev. But
I would love just to talk about that.
Give me Nakatani. You don't gotta fight MJ. He lost to Tapales.
Well, no, even without Tapales, I mean, before the Tapales fight even happened, he won a narrow decision against Danny Armand. Never gave him a rematch. Rai Salim was calling him out. He was one of the top guys. I believe he might have even been his mandatory. Correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't fight Rai Salim. Sam Goodman fights Rai Salim, right? And then now Sam Goodman's in the line to get an Inoue fight. He didn't want to unify with Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton kind of got his career slowed down because he was trying to fight Merjan, but Merjan didn't fight him.
Yep.
So that even affected Stephen Fulton going into the Inoue fight because he didn't have that same momentum, that he had when he was fighting. So Merjan, I think he needs to do something. He needs to beat a top guy, a top contender, and really, if he wants that fight. I know he's a mandatory, but there is a thing in boxing as an unjust mandatory. He's an unjust mandatory if I've ever seen one, to be honest.
Naoya, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, I'm sure you're one of the 68 people watching right now. Just give us the Nakatani fight. You don't have to fight Akhmadaliev. It's okay. But give us that at 22. And Brendan, if he makes it, I'm saying it here now on the live, me and you are going to Japan. And you'll have to protect me because there's going to be people running up. Aren't you the guy who said Inoue took steroids? I didn't exactly say that. And I never said Inoue took steroids. But, I am afraid of getting killed when I go to Japan. But I want to go to that amazing country so bad that I'm going to roll the dice if we get Inoue Nakatani.
Yeah, man, it's a great country, and I would advise any boxing fan, if you ever have the chance or the money to go to Japan, go do it. It'll be worth it.